Yeah, I'm on my way home. I'm no good for you, so I drive around Manhattan. They're all laughing, oh, I'm tragic. Yeah, I'm driving in my car and seeing open, but I can't go down that road again. I'll smoke a cigarette, but will that help me forget you? Will that help me forget you? I just need to forget you. Oh, you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you.
There's something that won't let me forget the way that you move. You tattooed me with your lips. Were you like
Hey, my buddies! Welcome along to TTML Division 1. We are here tonight for the Canadian Grand Prix here for Division 1 action. My name is James. I'm going to be taking you through the stream, and if you're not scared off by that introduction, then I don't know what will. Joining me in the commentary box, of course, it is Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening, James. Good evening to everyone who was watching and has now run off after James's introduction to the stream. Yeah, should be some really good racing tonight. I know it's one of them tracks that a lot of people don't like driving around on the game, but I always think Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, it's a shame we're not seeing it in 2021, but it does bring fantastic racing action, and who knows, maybe we might just have a change at the top of the order tonight.
Yeah, we might do, to be honest. Of course, Zhao Zhao leading the top of the standings coming into tonight after round 3, of course, in China. Round 4, of course, here being in Canada for season 4. Zhao Zhao out on top, though, on 93 points. Santeri in second on 47. Carlsby third on 46 points. So all the Scandinavians filling out the first 3 positions. Amadi in fourth on 44, with Mikras in fifth on 34. Hyper in sixth on 32. Perpetuum in seventh on 31. Scuba eighth on 28. Venom's in ninth on 27, and Sorensen in 10th on 25 points. Looking down the rest of the field, we have Yul Melmat also on 25, tied for 10th. Nathan in 12th on 22. Lars in 13th on 20. Kumblai is 14th on 18. Laser 15th on 17. Dobby 16th on 12, Combi 17th on 11, Nicholas and Mashivo tied for 7 points in 18th position, and Noon is down in last on nil points. And Zhao Zhao, of course, he said last week he wasn't going to make it. Well, here he is. He is in the lobby. 93 points to his name, 3 wins and 3 podiums to his name. Surely the man to beat.
Definitely. I know he said he didn't really enjoy this circuit, but we'll see how he does. I'll be expecting him to be somewhere near the front of the grid. Biggest challenges behind him, obviously, you've got Santeri second in the championship at the moment, but he is a reserve driver. He is the only other driver, though, to get a podium in more than one race. Second in Japan, third in China. We've seen Carlsby pick up a podium. Venom's having a very good debut of the season last time out with a second position, but I don't believe he's able to make it tonight. Lars, he's had an okay start. Had that big crash with Scuba at the end of last race, of course, but he's unable to make it, unfortunately. Sorensen had a podium earlier on. No one seems to be able to match the consistency of Zhao Zhao at the moment, and he can afford one bad race. Even if he doesn't do well around here, he's 46 points ahead. He can afford to have an off day.
He can afford to have an off day. I mean, he's on 93 points, as you say. Santeri, closest rival, on 47. Miles ahead. He's a more than a race win ahead compared to Santeri in second. And both of those, of course, are part of the IFR team. Looking at the constructors as well, Alfa Romeo out on top on 118 points. McLaren second on 90. Haas third along with AlphaTauri on 59. Williams in fifth on 43. Ferrari sixth on 35. Mercedes seventh on 22. Red Bull in 8th on 18, Renault in 9th on 17, and Racing Point in 10th on 7 points. And Alfa Romeo, again, really dominant in terms of Zhao Zhao's actions, but Yul Melmat's tied for 10th in the standings as well. How are we going to see this plan out in terms of the guys out on track between Alfa Romeo and McLaren?
McLaren are looking pretty good at the moment in terms of the consistency. So I'd say they're going to be the top 2 teams, but Zhao Zhao, if he was on his own, he'd be leading the Constructors' Championship at the moment by 3 points. He is putting in that good of a performance so far, and pretty much everyone who finishes the race gets a point here in TTML. It is the top 19, so if we had a full grid and everyone finished, there would be one unlucky soul who wouldn't get any points. And Yul Melmat, top 8 in both the races he's doing, so he's doing a good enough job. I think you've got to put Alfa Romeo as the Constructors' favourites at the moment. It's closer further down the order. You've got Haas and AlphaTauri tied on points. A lot could just depend on which drivers turn up to the most races and which ones finish the most races.
Yeah, it's going to be really intriguing to see, I think, how this battle is going to unfold between the both constructors, Alfa Romeo and McLaren. Also, further down the field, we have a few battles in terms of the constructors, in terms of the drivers, so it's going to be really intriguing to see. Let's have a look then at Canada. 4.3 kilometres in length, 2.7 mile, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, 35 laps awaiting our drivers out on track with the 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start-finish straight, 1 down in towards turn 8, and then 1 down in towards turn 13, the Wall of Champion Chicane. And the Wall of Champion Chicane, Luke, is one that is really going to catch the drivers out.
Yes, but not in the way that everyone is thinking right now. Everyone who's watched Formula 1 is thinking, oh yeah, you're going to hit the outside wall. But everyone's scared of hitting the outside wall, so you end up cutting the inside of the corner and getting yourself a corner invalidation. If you do that on a qualifying lap, if you do that on a fast qualifying lap, let's say, you've invalidated that lap and you've invalidated the next one as well. So that is going to be a big, big part around this circuit. As we see around a lot of tracks that have 2 DRS zones next to each other, there's only one detection point for the one down the back straight into the Wall of Champions and then down the start-finish straight as well. So the Wall of Champions isn't the easiest chicane to make a move into, but as long as you get a good exit through there and you've got the DRS, you'll have a fantastic chance into turn 1.
You will indeed, and of course plenty of invalidations can be picked up in qualifying, and speaking of qualifying, we are just 10 seconds away from getting into the lobby. Of course, good luck to all of our drivers who are competing out on track tonight. I really hope you guys as the viewers are going to enjoy the action. We might only have 14 drivers, but it doesn't mean we're going to be limited to the action that we are going to get out on track. So let's go then. Without further ado, let us get started. Let us go into qualifying. Welcome along everyone to TTML Division 1. We are here for Season 4, Round 4 of the Championship as we take in the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Let's have a look then at what tyres these guys are going to be using out on track. We have the C5, C4 and C3 compounder tyres, the softs, mediums and the hards to you and me. Around a very high degradation circuit as well. It is going to be fascinating to see how they are going to cope with the trials and tribulations of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Of course, I'm James Head, Luke Etheridge joining me alongside in the commentary box. Let's have a look then. You've already seen the track map, but let's have a look once again at this track in question. 14 turns around a 4.3 kilometre circuit around a man-made island with 3 DRS zones. One down the start-finish straight, one down in towards turn 8 and one down in towards turn 13. A lot can happen around here in Canada, and it probably will happen in Canada as well. So good luck to all of these guys, and we're about to get started then into qualifying, and we transition in towards qualifying now. And the first thing to note, beautiful blue skies. It is as if we've never left the country.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have actually a full race weekend without any rain whatsoever, because I don't think we've had one so far this season. We had obviously that ridiculous amount of rain in round number 1 of the season at Silverstone, and I think every race since we've managed to have some rain as well, so hopefully things stay nice and dry here. Drivers are heading out on the circuit with a bit of a lower number. You might see drivers trying to get through into the top 10 on the medium tyres. James has already said it's a high degradation circuit, and with it being such a short pit lane, it's very possible that 2-stop is the best strategy around here, not the 1-stop.
Yeah, 2-stop will probably be the best strategy around here. Very high degradation circuit. We're on board then with Armour D, running in towards turns 8 and 9. The second chicane, of course, out on track. A real trial and tribulation circuit. You just see actually Armour D pick up a little invalidation on his outlaps. Now runs up the hill in towards turn 10. And Armour will be hoping as we pan out. Beautiful camera shot that as we come now through the hairpin. Armour then, the Scotsman, first out on track. There's already a bit of racing going on, by the way, into the hairpin. I just saw that in the back of camera shot. I think there was a Williams going side by side. It might have been Perpetuum out of the pit lane with another driver. But Armour now going to be starting us then on a lap. And we are going to take you on board then of a lap of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve through the final corner. And Armour now about to set us off onto a lap of this 4.3 kilometre circuit. Down in towards turn 1. And then in towards turn 2, of course, where Massa and Perez had that collision, of course, in 2016, I think it was. Now through turn 2, then up the hill and towards turn 3, and then a downhill stop down and towards turn 4, and then through the left-hander where Stroll and Hartley, of course, came together a couple of years back. Through the first sector to 19.1, through the first sector for Armour D, and now coming through on his lap time at an 18.9 according to the TAS system. Done this at a soft compounder tyres, he now runs in towards turns 8 and 9. This again, second chicane can really catch people out. It hasn't with Armour D, and Armour D coming up the hill then in towards turn 10. And in toward the end of the middle sector, 40.4, 21.3 in the middle sector. Volbeek is one of the quickest through the first sector, along with Carlsbury, 18.8 through the first sector for him. Out of turn 11, now on the run down through the kink at 12, and then down in towards the infamous Wall of Champion chicane. If you take it too slow, you might invalidate. If you take it too heavy, you might end up in the wall. Let's see what Armour D chooses. He chooses to actually cut that very nicely indeed and runs towards the line. It's a valid lap from Armour D and comes across the line to set a 108.1 to start off the evening.
Yeah, Perpetuum was improving. He did a 107.964, but he did exactly what I said. He cut it too much on the inside there of the right-hander. Invalidated the lap he was on, which would have been a 107, and invalidated his next run as well, as Sven now goes fastest. The was a reserve driver last week, was Sven, in the Ferrari. He's now in the Renault this time as a full-time driver, so not a bad first lap from him. Zhao Zhao on his outlap, though. Despite Zhao Zhao's race dominance, he's only had one pole position so far, so I wonder if he'll be aiming for the front of the grid around a track that, again, he admitted he doesn't really enjoy.
Yeah, and to be honest, he doesn't want to try and outjudge the start like he did last week, because remember, he picked up that drive-through penalty for overjudging the start, literally timing it to perfection. I saw a Twitter video, by the way, last night, in one of his other leagues, and Zhao Zhao timed the start to absolute perfection. I think it was in practice, if I'm not mistaken, around Brazil, and he timed it to 0.002 of a second from the lights actually going out. It's absolutely insane. You can watch that back, of course. 18.8 built through the first sector from Zhao Zhao when he now comes through in towards turns 8 and 9. Of course, the second chicane that is going to come up out on track. And now let's see what Zhao Zhao is going to do. Reaches 200 miles an hour nearly in towards the corner, coming through turns 8 and 9. Now up the hill and towards turn 10. And an 18.8 through that first sector is quick. In the middle sector as well, Dobby, I think, is the quickest in the middle sector. We'll watch out for him. 21.4 from Zhao Zhao through the middle sector. He's a 10th off Dobby's personal best. I'm not sure if Dobby is actually on a lap if he's coming back into the pit lane. He might be just ahead of him, actually, coming out the final corner. He is, and Dobby now on the run towards the line. Let's see what his lap time is going to be. He goes third. 1:08 flat. Zhao Zhao then on the lap as well, coming out of the final corner towards the line. He comes. Zhao Zhao goes quickest. 1:07.8. You wouldn't even expect it to be quickest, to be honest, but Zhao Zhao out on top by 500ths of a second. Sorensen in second. Tim in third, 5 minutes gone.
Yeah, but I wish I'd not liked a track as good as Zhao Zhao is around tracks that he doesn't like. Fantastic run from him. He just looked like he had a bit more commitment through that final chicane than Dobby, and that's made the difference at this moment in time because he was down. Dobby, though, on the second lap on those tyres, I think he'll be hoping that he does get some improvement in. If you start in outside of the top 10 on a fresh set of tyres and you go for the two-stop, you can probably get away with running 2 sets of soft tyres. If you started inside of the top 10 on a one set of softs, you're probably going to have to go medium, so that might be something to watch out for as well. Whoever's on pole is going to have a fantastic chance of winning this race, and as is the case around a lot of circuits, whoever's 11th is probably going to have a very good chance as well.
Yeah, obviously, of course, the guy in the 11th could be going on that two-stop strategy, mediums to hards, and then maybe to softs towards the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. Perpetuum is on an outlap. I was running board with Hyper, I should say, and Hyper has invalidated both on his this and next lap, on his outlap. So it's invalidated there. Perpetuum on the night lap, just preparing for his lap. He's got Combi just, I think, coming through. Combi's coming through the end of the first sector, but Perpetuum is going to be our next man to ride on board with as we come across towards the line. But Zhao Zhao out on top, Thomas in second, Tim in third. Looking at the times, though, further down the field, Yul Melmat and Armadi, 7,000ths of a second, 8,000ths of a second between Carlsbury and Volbeek, with Kumbly on the same lap time as Carlsbury. Very close qualifying session so far, as now we're going to ride on board with Perpetuum as he starts to spout on this lap. A really fat-looking Williams, if I've got to be honest. The camera angle down and towards turn 1. I don't think you've ever heard a commentator say that. Going through turn 2, and Volbeek has just came out the pit lane ahead of him. So it's actually going to be really good, I think, for Perpetuum to try and get a little bit of a toll through the first sector, coming through turn 4, now out through 5, and then in towards turn 6 and 7. It's a good first sector as well, 18.8 through the first sector from Perpetuum. Yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. Don't worry about those. Just Volbeek getting out the way. Perpetuum on the run up towards turns 8 and 9. Zhao Zhao on top, Sorensen second. URL Tim in third. Tim, of course, being reserve here in Division 1. So Perpetuum now runs towards the end of this middle sector. Looks like, though, he's invalidated, and he has. Coming through the middle sector, he invalidated just out of the chicane through 8 and 9. And that is him off a lap as Combi has just came through the first sector with a 19.3.
Yeah, Combi quite a bit off then. That middle sector, chicane 8 and 9, I do find it pretty tricky, especially in qualifying and in the race when you're going to have the DRS as well. Judging the braking point for the first part, very hard to do, and sometimes you can be a bit heavy on the throttle and spin it round coming out of that turn 9 Combi. 40.8 so far combined for the first and middle sector. So his first sector was pretty average. His middle sector, not too bad, to be honest. This might put him in and around where the Red Bulls are at the moment. Kumbly in 9th and Monomon Jr. in 11th place. Monomon making his debut this season into the final chicane for the Alpha Tauri driver, leaving plenty spare there on the exit. We'll see if that does cost him any time in the end. He goes into 12th position, but the Perpetuum invalidating again. He needs to get himself a clean lap in, and I don't think that lap, even in Sector 1, was as good as his one early on. So more to come from the reigning champion.
Yeah, 108.6, obviously behind Moneymon Jr., the two sister cars, 11th and 12th, but the other sister car, of course, the Red Bull of Kuhn Bly, who we're on board with, coming through the middle sector, and Kuhn Bly on his lap so far, just trying to keep it up on the task system, 21.4 through the middle sector, so thereabouts, not improving through the first and middle, though. JJ Watt on top, Sorensen second, URL Tim in third. I think we saw Imad go up into fourth as well, and Sven into sixth. So good lap time there from him. Yellow flag in sector 3. Kuhn Bly typically into the pit lane. Carlsbury is on a lap as well, I believe, just ahead of him. And Carlsbury is actually backed off, I think, on this lap, running down in towards the final corner. He's got left side end plate damage on the car, has Carlsbury. Run straight in towards the pit lane to obviously hit the wall. Probably, I would say, coming out of the middle sector.
Yeah, that's very possible. I'll tell you someone who is looking fastest at the moment, though. Purple in Sector 1 for Sven. Sub 18.8 for him. He's now blasting through turn 8 and 9. Nice and steady on the throttle from the Renault driver. We'll see what he can do in the middle sector then. It's 21.1. He's sub 40 seconds for the first two sectors of this lap. This is going to be a fantastic lap time if you can just get it right coming through the final few corners. You've got these on the straight. They're not really corners. It's just flat out easy. In these conditions, make sure you've got enough ERS to get yourself and give yourself that blast. Coming through 13 and 14, takes a lot of the curb, bashes into the wall. I don't think you'll mind too much about that, to be perfectly honest. Heads towards the line, 107.427. Take that, everyone.
Take that, everyone, indeed. But I tell you what, Jajo's responding, 21.1 in the middle sector, 107.8. Volbeat goes second, so it's run a 1-2 at this stage. Jajo at the final corner. Sven got right side end plate damage from hitting the wall at the final corner as well, so even more impressive. And Jajo can only manage second. And Sven, I think it's his debut here tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Sven is out on top. Jajo second, Volbeat in third. I don't think there's much time he can find on that time, if I've got to be honest. Right side end plate damage, obviously coming out the final corner, didn't cost him. It must have only cost him half a tenth, if that. And a 107.4 round here in Division 1. Absolutely unbelievable lap.
Yeah, fantastic time for Sven. He got it all hooked up in the first couple of sectors, as my voice went up there because Yul Melman nearly had a huge accident coming through turn 7. I think he opened for DRS a bit before the tyres had gripped there and managed to hold on to the car. But yeah, brilliant lap time from Sven. Yul Melman was on a hot lap, and I think Sorensen on one as well in the Haas. Best result of second so far this season in round number 1.
Sorensen's invalid.
Yeah, and he's invalidated, so second is only point so far. Starting fourth here wouldn't be too bad, but it's a track you need to be starting towards the front. It's not a long one towards turn 1, and it is quite awkward with that sweeping right-hander at turn 2 as well, straight afterwards. So very difficult to make moves into turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, I believe Jojo was into the pit lane as well. Tim has just started off on a lap. He's invalid though. Oh no, he's not invalid actually, 19.2. Through the first sector from Tim as he now runs in towards turns 8 and 9 in the Tifosi, in the Ferrari. 5th position for him currently. Sven out on top, Jojo second, Volbeat in third. Tim's middle sector, let's see his middle sector, comes through now. He's invalid actually through the middle sector, so he's actually not on a lap. He has got a good train of cars though behind him. I think that's the Red Bull of Moneymon Jr. and possibly Hyper, I think that might have been as well in behind. Kuhn Bly though in towards the hairpin. Let's see what his lap is doing at this moment in time. 18.9 through the first sector, 21.3 in the middle. So the Dutchman will be hoping for a good lap. Perpetuum has just started up on a lap as well, but with 2/3 of qualifying gone, Sven out on top, Jajo second, Volbeat in third. Kuhn Bly now through the final 2 corners, through the wall, championship getting very close to the wall. Now runs toward the line. Kuhn Bly improves 108.0, goes within 800ths of a second of Imad D. So good up there by Kuhn Bly and puts him into 8th.
Yeah, he was of course tied with Carlsbury, who's now heading towards the final sector himself, 3/10 up on his lap. So the Red Bull and the McLaren could be getting extremely close together once again. This Carlsbury comes through the final chicane, gets a bit of a wobble on, stays off the exit curb, but I think we've seen already you need to get very close to that wall. Great final sector though from Carlsbury, moves him up into 4th position. Him and Imad D, definitely dark horses this season with the performances they've been putting in.
Yeah, definitely. Perpetuum out the final corner, clouts the wall on the exit. I think he didn't invalidate either, and he goes quickest! A 107.3 God, he absolutely bolted through the chicane. I thought he was invalid out the final corner, but Perpetuum with right side end plate damage, taking it even quicker as well. I think it's the quickest I've seen the Waller Champion chicane being taken. Perpetuum out on top, defending Division 1 champion. Sven in second, Jojo hating this track at the minute, he's in third. Bullbeak fourth and Hyper in fifth, and Hyper's just started up on a lap of 107.7 for him, and I think he actually improved up to a 107.7 because he is green through the first, second and third middle, first, second and third sectors out on track, not the first, second and middle sectors out on track, I was about to say, but Perpetuum out on top, even more impressive, he received damage. Sven in second, Jojo in third, and we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Not sure whether that might have been a combi, possibly. He's at the final corner, just starting up on a lap.
Yeah, I think Combi's invalidated there, maybe coming through the final corner, so a bit of a shame for him. Doesn't have any front wing damage. Monimon got held up massively by Vapor Hyper, but I think Vapor might get away with that one because Monimon had just invalidated before he got held up, so he could arguably say maybe that he got distracted by seeing the car ahead of him, but I don't think that one will wash with the stewards. Perpetuum, He's been a bit off foot. It's almost like he won the title and sort of had a bit of a relax. 7th in Britain, 4th in Japan, wasn't here last time out. And this is the first time I think we've really been talking about him as a championship contender, as Combi has got it wrong through turn 9. We said early on that could be a bit of a danger. Dobby's just coming up to turn 8 and 9 at the moment, and I imagine that Combi's just got a bit too heavy out of that corner and spun into the inside wall.
Yeah, right-hand side, left wheel actually off the car, so it makes me wonder actually if he's caught the curb on the inside and it sent him spinning around to the right-hand side, and then the left wheel has came off when he's tried to rotate the car around. So I would imagine that's what's probably happened there. Perpetuum out on top of Sven in second, Jojo in third, coming down in towards the nitty-gritty of qualifying. Monimon Jr. is on a lap time of 19.1 through the first sector. He's invalid on his lap time, the American. F1 Dobby now coming out through the final corner, and he is going to start on time. Really interested to see how Sorensen's going to get on as well. Sorensen's currently on an outlap. I'm really intrigued to see how he is going to get on, because he was second at one stage in this qualifying session, all the way down now in 7th because of the improvements to the track. Perpetuum's out on top, Trent second, Jojo in third, but Dobby now coming through turns 3 and 4, really on the limit now, coming through 5 and coming through the end of the first sector. That's an 18.9 through the first sector.
Yeah, good first sector for Dobby, gets 700ths off. I think if anyone has been watching the stream, they've learned by now that if you finish that final sector with your front wing intact, you just haven't pushed hard enough for the Wall of Champions. It's clearly the fastest line is wiping off your right front end plate, as long as you don't hit it too hard and wipe off your front right tyre. Dobby's invalidated his lap, but he will be able to save a bit of fuel and go again. The McLarens are getting very close to each other, but they're just on out laps at the moment. I think we're going to be seeing everyone else pretty much heading on circuit, obviously apart from Combi. It's going to get pretty cramped around the circuit Gilles-Vendée for the final 1.5 minutes of this session.
Yeah, 107.3 is the personal best, considering an average lap time around the 107.8, I would say. And you pretty much got everyone trying to make it out the pit lane. Everyone is out on their outlaps about 20 seconds before the cutoff time. Sorensen's through the first sector, 18.7. Through the first sector from Sorensen, and that is a flying first sector. Might be the quickest of the night at 107.9. His current best as we now come in towards turns 8 and 9 out on track. He just got 8 wrong, now coming through 9, and then up the hill in towards turns 10, and then in towards the hairpin. But 21.3 through the middle sector from Sorensen. On a good lap here, the Haas, Perpetuum and Sven also on lap times. Volbeek on a lap time as well. We'll keep on for him. There was a McLaren just off to the right-hand side that I think was Armour D on a night lap. Oh, either Carlsbury, because the other McLaren is just ahead. It's now right on board with Sorensen. Down and toward the Wall of Champion chicane. Is he going to invalidate? Lovely through there, and that is really good commitment. But he was a little bit slow on the exit. Sorensen now toward the line. He goes fourth, 107.7. That final sector just costing him slightly. Yes, he improved 27.5 through the first sector. Sven has set an even quicker first sector, 18.7, 21.2 through the middle sector as well. Perpetuum invalid on his lap time, and Sven might be the main man to watch.
Yeah, Sven's still improving. Interestingly there, Sorensen, he drifted over to the left-hand side of the track as if he was taking the racing line for turn 1. But you don't want to be doing that on your final qualifying lap. Stick to the right-hand side. It's the shortest line to the finish. Sven hopping over the curb again, steps away from the wall this time around. Is this going to be another improvement for the Renault? It is indeed. 107.336 for Sven. Provisional pole position. Jiao Jiao's invalidated. Perpetuum has invalidated. Sorensen won't be able to get another lap done. Hyper has gone up into 5th place. And looking down the order, I think there is a few improvements, namely Tim, but I can't see anyone getting close enough to Sven.
Yeah, Yul Milmat is invalidated on his lap time, a shocking middle sector from him, 37.6, and Tim now coming down towards the final couple of corners. Let's see how the Ferrari man's going to get on. Jiao Jiao invalidated as well, but Tim at the final corners, end plate damage actually coming through the final corner. Tim comes across the line, and he goes 4th, 107.6, good lap time from him. Just seeing if there's anybody else. Volbeek into the pit lane. Dobby is off on a lap. D might be on a lap here as he runs down. He's not, and he's invalidated. Moneymon Jr. is the only man I think that's out there on any respectful lap at all. It's a 21.4 through the middle sector. He should be improving, but it's not going to be anywhere near Sven and Perpetuum. He pretty much got qualifying as it is, I think. Moneymon Jr. could get ahead of Yul Milmat. Not if he does that. Coming out the final corner, runs towards the line. As Williams going slow across the line, Moneymon does improve his time, but not his position. Dobby about to come across the line as well, but Sven is out on top. 2 points go to him. Perpetuum in second, Jiao Jiao in third, and Sven a little bit of a turn up for the books, I think.
Yeah, Dobby decided, rather than ditching that lap, he decided to carry on, finish the lap. He's now done 3 hot laps on that set of soft tyres, and we know the AI, when you do an in-lap, isn't exactly fantastic with tyre wear. So Dobby, he's going to have a pretty hard first into this race, I think. Fantastic lap time from Sven. He was actually cleaner through the final sector there, and that gained him, I think, the extra few hundredths he needed. But him and Perpetuum both on a 107.3. Jiao Jiao in third with those magic reactions to the starting lights, though. I said it's hard to pass into turn 1. Don't be surprised if he gains at least 1, maybe 2 positions.
Yeah, you never know, to be honest. Sven is out on top the Dutchman, beating the German. Front row the grid, Perpetuum in second. Jiao Jiao in third with Tim in fourth. Sorensen in fifth. Hyper in sixth. A current theme there. Second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, all German and Danish. Volbeek in seventh, Carlsberg in eighth, Dobby in ninth, D in 10th, Kumbly and Yul Milmat 11th and 12th. Moneymon Jr. on his debut in 13th, Combi in 14th position. I thought we had more drivers than that, to be honest, which is why I was trying to last it out a little bit longer. But no, Sven is out on top, Perpetuum second, and Jiao Jiao in third as we are about to go into the race even.
Yeah, heading into the race. Interestingly, different drivers. Sven was fastest overall, obviously, in Sector 1. Tim fastest in Sector 2. Perpetuum fastest in Sector 3. So maybe Tim not running as lower wings as some of the other drivers, which is okay if you've got the DRS. But as soon as he loses the DRS, he might be a bit of a sitting duck to some of those behind who could be faster in a straight line, potentially. It is glorious sunshine, though, once again here at a Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve. So that is going to be good news. Hopefully it stays that way for the race, because with how close everyone is, I think we could get some fantastic battling.
We should do indeed, and yeah, it is going to be really good to see. Hopefully some really good battling out on track. 4.3 kilometres in length, 2.7 mile, 35 laps out on track, 50% worth of which. Glad to see, by the way, 15 people have managed to tune in after my very, very strange introduction that I did to the session. I tried to imitate a Canadian accent, if you tried to get the gist. It really did not work well, did it? It sounded like I was more on something. But there we are. We better get going. 35 laps on the way, and these guys out on track. Sven is out on top of Perpetuum in second, and Jiao Jiao in third. Of course, the top 10 qualifying on a set of softs, and very, very boring toward the bottom of the field. Kumbly, Yul Milmat, Moneymon, and Combi, all on a set of medium compound tyres. It's going to be fascinating to see how that is all going to unfold. And surely you would imagine, at the rate that the softs go off around here, about 5-6% a lap, Kumbly and the likes are going to be flying probably within the first 5-6 laps of the race.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be surprised, really, unless someone is trying to stretch it out to a one-stop strategy, if any of the top 10 are still on track after lap 10, especially Dobby. He's starting on 3-lap old soft tyres. He's going to be, when you consider the in-lap as well, he's probably going to be pushing 20% by the time we start this race. Never mind after the first couple of laps. So yeah, crucial for those drivers as well. Outside the top 10, stay in DRS zone. It gains you a lot of time around this circuit. But what it does mean with the 2 stops is if you have a bit of damage, things aren't over. You can always try and recover and maybe come back from this race. I'm really interested to see how this is going to work out. Jiao Jiao, we've written him off before after he's qualified lower down the grid and he's qualified third on a track he doesn't like. He'll be on the podium no matter what. But a victory, we'll have to see what Sven and Perpetuum have got. And who knows, maybe someone like Tim as well is behind them. Sorensen's got some good pace. I'd say any of those top 5 can take a victory. If I was going for someone outside the top 10 to put in a good performance, I'm going to go Young Melmat.
See, I'm going to go Kumbly. I think Kumbly will love this track, and it might just be suited more to his strengths than anyone else. I think Carlsbury might be one to watch as well. On a set of soft Commentators, goes second in the championship coming in towards tonight. Let's see how this is all going to unfold out on track. The Canadian Grand Prix is about to begin. Season 4, round 4 of TTML Division 1 is just moments away. Sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, because we're in it for 35 laps. The 5 red lights then are about to go out as we have a little bit of a glitch. But now the timing screens are on and 5 red lights are out. And it's lights out and away we go. And Jojo once again with a very good start. And he could get the run on Sven down and towards someone. He's good to be past Perpetuum, as I have a real shocking camera angle down and towards someone. And it's Perpetuum who actually leads. Sven in second, Jojo in third. Jojo falls out wide. Coming through turn 2. We start off with Hyper, I think. There's a glitch completely to the left-hand side on my timing screen for Perpetuum. Leading the way, Sven in second. 4/10 of a second early on. And they pulled away from Jojo in third. And Jojo now really trying to hassle off the back of Hyper. Tim Rudd involved in this as well. I don't think there was any contact further down the field, which I'm glad to report. I'm looking at the damage as well. No damage picked up apart from Volbeek. 25% damage on that right side end plate for Volbeek. He's down in 12th position, but Perpetuum has got the break. Sven in second, and the front two have pulled miles clear of Jojo early on.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know whether Jojo just got squeezed ever so slightly into turn 1 or realised he wasn't far enough alongside. Perpetuum sent it all the way around the outside of Jojo and Sven in the end to take the lead of this race, and I was surprised given how good Jojo starts are that Sven sort of left that inside line open. I'd have been very defensive on the inside on the run down to turn 1 and maybe just said Perpetuum might get me, but Jojo definitely won't. In the end, that is how it's worked out, and it is actually Jojo who has got the most worn tyres. He's already on 20% on his rear left at this moment in the race. Volbeek having come into the pits, he retires from the session, so ignore everything I said about if you get damage on the first lap, there's always something to fight on for, because he's decided that there's not on this occasion. Maybe he's got some football match he needs to watch.
Perpetuum's out of top, Sven in second, Jojo in third. I'm not sure if my notifications are coming through very slow. I've only just got a party invite from Tom, apparently. Perpetuum's out on top, Sven in second, but they pulled 1.5 seconds clear from Jojo. And yeah, you speak about that rear left wearing on their tyre. Jojo's got 23%. Tim is pretty much matching him in terms of the tyre wear out on track on 23%. Hyper on 22% as well. Really, really high tyre wear around here. And Perpetuum currently leading the way. Sven in second. I wouldn't say that was 7/10 of a second running through the hairpin, if I've got to be honest. And now Sven will try and close in on the back of Perpetuum. The German against the Dutchman. And the German out on top. The defending TTML Division 1 champ lead. Sven in second. Jojo in third. Sorensen right on the back of Tim. Running down and towards turn 13 and 14 the wall of championship. Came right on board then with Sorensen as he comes out the final corner. Gets a little bit of snap of oversteer, but comes across the line. Perpetuum with the new fastest lap of the race. Sorensen staying in sixth. Carlsbury right on the back of him as well. Having a look at the position gains as well early on. 3 positions for Yul Melmat. You mentioned about how he might get a good start. He's right on the back of Armady, just in behind camera shot. And Perpetuum leads the way. Sven in second, Jojo in third. But Jojo, because of that really high tyre wear that he's got, he is losing bags of time to the likes of Sven and Perpetuum ahead.
Yeah, and it's not like he's got a more oversteery setup on, because he's using more tyres up on the front as well. So it's just like his entire setup, maybe a bit lower downforce to be quicker in a straight line, and he's just sliding the tyres around at this moment in time. But you'd expect that to mean he'll be all over the back of the cars in front of him. We might see whether Hyper can get anywhere near close to him. I don't think he'll be able to in the straight at the moment. Armady all over the back of his teammate for 7th and 8th, and then you've got Yul Melmat, Kumbly, Dobby, Combi and Monimon at the moment. The field's sort of split up almost into 3. You've got Perpetuum with Sven just hanging inside DRS range of him, and then Jojo obviously a long way back, and the entire field, the rest of the remaining 13 cars in this race, behind our championship leader at the moment. Yeah,
I didn't think I'd be saying these words, these infamous words. Jojo's leading the DRS train. out on track, and he's in third position, 3.1 seconds, and he is really losing the time with his tyre wear. It's 31% at the minute. Sven is on 31%, and he's really trying hard as he nearly clips the wall coming out through turn 4, and out through 5, and Jojo got a bit of oversteer there as well, coming out through the corner. Monimon with the first 3-second time penalty out on track. Those guys on a set of mediums are doing considerably better than those guys on a set of soft compounded sides. Oh, Zamad's in the wall!
Yeah, Amadi just a bit too happy there, coming on just on throttle before we'd even got to the DRS activation point, just on throttle. Coming out of turn 7, spins it round, gets away without any damage, but he's now off the back of that DRS train and on a worn set of soft tyres. It's going to be hard for him to catch back up. He might be one of the first drivers to come into the pits.
Yeah, 7.8 seconds down, and of course his tyre wear is really similar actually to the likes of Jojo ahead. Petcham leading Sven in second, Jojo getting closed down by Hyper all of a sudden, 0.5 of a second, running down in toward the wall of champion chicane. Tim is in fifth, Sorensen in sixth. Sorensen looks like the quickest out of these guys, if I've got to be honest, stuck in this DRS train. Dobby has just lost the DRS to Kuhnblai as well. I think it was just within the section point actually. But Vapor Hyper in fourth position, the AlphaTauri right on the back of Jojo. Jojo currently in third at this stage, Perpetuum leading. Looks like the Perpetuum might have just backed off slightly because Sven, right on the back of him, 0.5 of a second. It's about as close as I think I've seen since the beginning of this race on lap 1.
Yeah, whether Perpetuum has backed off or made a slight mistake, they're very similar on ERS usage. Sven with about 10% less at the moment, so I don't think that's really got a part to play in it at this moment in time. We could see pit stops starting as early as this lap if you want to go for a bit of an aggressive undercut all of a sudden. You pit now from the lead of this race. You're going to come out in free air because even with Imad 8 seconds off the back of the train.
Down the inside on Carlsbury, absolutely sends it down the inside line, gets the move done, he's up into 7th.
Fantastic move, gets it done before the DRS zone as well. They're both going to have it anyway. Sorensen looking very close to the back of Tim up ahead as well. As there we go, first pit stop. I said you could go for it. Sven comes in, 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Jojo also coming into the pits, as does Sorensen, as does Carlsbury. This has got all the hallmarks of medium for the end of the race for these drivers.
Yeah, undercut quite potent around here, of course. Remember, Sorensen might be held up in the pit lane slightly from Jojo coming out, and now Sorensen is out of his pit box, and he is just ahead of Imad, barely. And Imad is actually, Carlsbury, in fact, is forced to slow down as a result of him coming out the pit lane. Imad, by the way, after those sort of soft gun banner after that spin, he's behind Sven out on track, and look where Sven is, he's in clear air, and Sven is going to be the one that is really going to try and push these tyres out on track to try and get Perpetuum. 1 lap 6, Perpetuum leads, Hyper second with Tim in third, Yul Melmat in fourth, and Yul Melmat all of a sudden in fourth position, the German against his fellow countryman, and Yul Melmat, those mediums have just looked like they've just switched on and came into the race.
Yeah, he has actually got a slight bit of front wing damage as well, 90% on the front right with that 3-second time penalty as well, but he's going to come streaking past Tim here. Hopefully Tim doesn't want to go into the pits because he might find it fairly tricky, and I think that's why he's just let Yul Melmat get that position. Watch out for the braking zone though, because that can always make things awkward. And here we go, Tim into the pits. Perpetuum carrying on a bit longer, so he's clearly got a strategy, as is Hyper, that they are going for in this race, and they're not deviating from that at this moment in time. So Perpetuum, we can safely say, he's going to lose the lead of this race, but he'll be looking much better later on.
Yeah, Combi's run on the back of Dobby coming through turn 2 as well. Williams against AlphaTauri out on track, and Dobby currently in 5th. Combi currently in 6th. Money1 Junior not too far off either in 7th. He's in with 0.5 of a second on Combi, but remember, he's got that penalty that he has picked up. Speaking of the penalties, we'll have an update with the penalties. 3 seconds for Hyper, 3 seconds for Yul Melmat, 3 seconds for Monimon, and 5 seconds because of that speed into the pit lane from Sven. So that is the latest on the penalties. Combi, though, right on the back of Dobby, will right on board with him once again. The AlphaTauri comes on to the back of Dobby, and in terms of ERS usage, actually, he's got a lot more ERS compared to Dobby ahead. Dobby, in the meantime, has got 35% of ERS, 86% for Combi, and Combi surely is going to be looking at this move. Speaking of looking for the move, Yul Melmat is through on Hyper, and he is through and he's into second. Hyper got to be very careful to come into the pit lane. Thought actually he was going to come into the pit lane now, but he doesn't. Oh, and there's front wing damage. Combi, I think, has got front wing damage on the car, as Combi has just tried to dive it down the inside, and he's got front wing damage as well, I think. Oh, that was Dobby's end plate, I think, going off. So Dobby's into the pit lane. He's going to get his front wing change, I think. Unless that was just a random bit of front wing. Yeah, Dobby has getting the front wing change.
Yeah, it's exactly what we said. He just misjudged, I think, the pit lane between himself and Combi. Don't know, didn't quite see whose fault, if anyone, it was from that camera angle that I had. But yeah, just saw a piece of front wing flying past. Dobby just probably clipping the back of Combi. Costly mistake for him. He's now going to be a long way down the field in 12th position, well off the back are him and Amade at the moment, as the penalties keep flying in. More than half the field have got a penalty, and we're only on lap 8.
Yeah, and expectations are penalties are probably going to pick up before the end of the race as well. You'll know that, by the way, now pulling the gap in towards Perpetuum. It's expected on a set of medium compounded tyres, but it's interesting to see Perpetuum is still out on this set of soft compounded tyres along with Vapor Hyper, but Perpetuum still going on this set of soft compounded tyre. My goodness me, nearly lost out through the final corner. You'll Melmat in second, and you'll Melmat again nearly loses it. Hyper is into the pit, and you'll Melmat, of course, with that front wing damage. Kumbla now promoted to third. Well, right on board, though, with this pit stop in the AlphaTauri garage of Vapor Hyper. He is in. Fresh set of mediums will go on. I think he's going to be out, possibly behind Tim here. Well ahead of Dobby, I should say. Sorensen going past pit lane. Hyper's coming out the pit lane, and he's going to be side by side with Tim, I think, coming out the pits. There's Tim coming through turn 1. There is Hyper, and Hyper is behind. So Hyper is behind, but it's only by about 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, it is. That's these drivers, Hyper and definitely Perpetuum, I think they're going for softs, maybe. At the end of the Perpetuum, pits this lap, let's say, 15, 16 laps on a set of mediums. You've then got 10 laps to do on a set of soft tyres towards the end of the race, and you will catch a car up by about a second a lap, I reckon, on the soft tyres compared to the mediums around this circuit. So that might be what they're going for. If not, yes, they've given themselves slightly fresher medium tyres, but you've just put yourself, as you can see from Hyper, in the mother of all traffic.
Well, Perpetuum will be coming into the pit lane this lap because he has got damage on that car. Right side end plate damage on the car. Sven is coming down the straight now. Sven is halfway down the straight, running in toward the World Champion chicane. Perpetuum's going to have a 5-second penalty, so that actually negates that 5-second stop go. That Sven, there's Perpetuum just into his pit lane. There's Sven going past camera shot, and Sven has absolutely mullered him. Coming out the pit lane, Perpetuum is going to be well behind. He's going to be in amongst Carlsbury and the likes. And this is a real turn up for the Bucks. Sven is miles ahead. Perpetuum, who was a net leader, pretty much coming out the pit lane with that damage, he's behind Vapor Hyper. And he's in, what, net 6th?
Yeah, net 7th. He's a long way down the order all of a sudden. Yes, he's got a bit of free air to get onto the back of Hyper, and he's got no penalties at the moment. But you're not going to be seeing Sven, Zhao Zhao, Sorensen, Carlsbury, Tim, pit. If they are going for another set of medium tyres, it's at least another 10 laps before they're coming into the pits at this moment in the race. As Monimon, I think he's the first driver now to pick up 2 time penalties. Yeah, he's the only driver on 6 seconds at the moment. Yulmelmat leads the race. Cohen Bly not doing too bad at the moment on medium tyres with no penalty. Everyone else who's gone for the mediums have. So your prediction might just be right about him doing pretty well in this race. Monimon very close to the back of Combi. Needs to be careful that he doesn't overshoot the chicane here, because then he might have a run through into turn 1. But with dirty air on this game, making it slightly difficult. Combi's gonna... I thought he was going to defend to the inside. Oh, he hasn't done. He's half left a door open. Monimon goes for it. Door shuts in his face, and that allows Sven through. And Monimon, he lost that position there. Combi, I can see why Monimon went for it. Combi half left the door open there. Gave Monimon a chance, and then he found the door getting shut in his face.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with Monimon, he actually pulled into the slipstream of Combi and then attacked him down the inside line when the gap was still half open. It's a little bit silly, if I've got to be honest, for Monimon. He shouldn't have really done that. He should have just let Combi go through, and then there would have still been battling, and possibly he would have been passing him down this straight. So Monimon just needs to learn his lesson, I think, from that point of view. Of course, try and go for the move if there's half a gap, but if the door's going to shut like it was on the natural racing line with Combi had a natural racing on, always that door was going to shut, and I think Monimon is really overheating his tyres, certainly 44% on those compounded tyres, and look who's behind him. Zhao Zhao's behind him, Sven is right behind Combi, and Combi now to the outside line, go at Sven, and Sven is going to be through. Combi lets him go, and Sven is up into 3rd position out on track. Zhao Zhao as well, through on Monimon Jr., and he is through, and he's into 5th position. So it really looks like now a real dominance possibly from Sven, but Zhao Zhao beginning to pick up the pace, it seems.
Yeah, I think Zhao Zhao's enjoying these medium tyres better than he was the softs earlier on. He's got a bit of a gap to the cars behind him. It was Hyper and Tim behind him earlier, but they stayed out slightly longer, so it's now Sorensen and Carlsbury, the cars behind him, who have made a pit stop, because it is still our top two, 4th place man and the 6th place driver, only ones not to make a stop. I probably agree with you on the Monimon Junior one. I feel it was a half chance, and sort of with those half chances, you've got to be a bit more aggressive and really go for the move, or just leave it completely. He half committed, and it was only going to ever end up in a spin, so he's now lost DRS and now dropped behind Zhao Zhao, and I think Sorensen and Carlsbury will be all over the back of him fairly soon. Perpetuum, he is closing up to the back of Hyper. He's closed up about a second since the pit stop period. Not looking too bad at this moment in time. Fastest man out on circuit last lap around. Sven did a 1:11. Tim actually did a 1:10, as did Perpetuum. So Tim and Perpetuum, fastest man out on circuit. Very good from the Williams driver when you consider he hasn't got the DRS.
Thought Hyper was going to get Tim on to run towards the final corner. Might still get him, and there's a crash. Actually, Monimon Jr. is also out the final corner, and here comes Hyper. Hyper to the inside line, running through in towards turn 1. A little bit of wheel banging, but he's through. Down the inside line he goes, and inevitably that was going to happen. Hyper is through on Tim. Tim doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed. It looks like he's actually committed himself to a more cornering-based setup than it is a speed setup. It got outdone there completely, as Vapor Hyper is in 8th position, and Armadi, I think, is retired in the pit lane.
Yeah, Armadi, I'm not sure if he's picked up any damage on that last lap, but he's decided to retire in the pits. Jon Melmat picks up another time penalty, so we're seeing him coming thick and fast for all these different drivers now. Tim was looking pretty quick, and I think maybe he's made a slight mistake out of one of the corners. Dobby gets past Monimon, who's got big front wing damage. It's going to be a long way back to the pits from there. It's things are getting pretty interesting in this race. I know Hyper will be absolutely delighted that the yellow flag for Monimon's spin ended before he got ahead of Tim there. That would have been a great big call for him. It looks like he's going to fly his way past Carlsbury as well, straight forward with the DRS, get the move done before the chicane, and you get the DRS down the next straight as well. Job done.
Yeah, job done. He's up into 7th. Hyper just picked up a 3-second time, but though for his troubles. Carlsbury and Tim 8th and 9th. Nearly towards the halfway stage then here in Canada. And it's Jon Melmat who leads. Sven in 2nd, Kumbly in 3rd. Sven getting 3-second time, but he's just been picked up. He is catching Tim and Carlsbury, but these two are falling over each other, I think, at this point. And it's allowing Perpetuum to gain back as Monimon Jr. now retires into the pit lane. And that is him done for tonight. Tim getting close down by Perpetuum, and he's in clear air at the minute. But if Tim does not make this move stick on Carlsbury sooner rather than later, Carlsbury is still going to have that DRS to Hyper. He's going to be dragged along, and then Perpetuum really is in a bit of no man's land, because what chances there is actually Tim just clouts the wall on the inside apex there, clouted the wall. I think he's got damage on the car as well, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have a look at that. Yeah, 25% damage for Tim, and now Perpetuum might have just been handed a free advantage, considering what I was just saying about him.
Yeah, we'll see a straight line speed difference here, because Perpetuum, they've both got the DRS, they've both got ERS, but Perpetuum's got the slipstream, and I think a less draggy setup. And that is very straightforward. Jon Melmat comes into the pits on lap 14 of the race. Tim into the pits as well to get rid of that front wing. He might be able to stretch a medium set of tyres all the way towards the end of the race from here, but he is going to have to be extremely careful on them to do so, and his pace will be a bit average towards the end of the race. But this train's breaking up now. What Perpetuum's in. Carlsbury's nearly outside of DRS range from Hyper. Hyper is outside of DRS range of Sorensen. That is still good news for Perpetuum. He's got to be patient. He doesn't want to cook these tyres and ruin all the good work he did in the first stint.
Yeah, Sorensen's looking quite pacey as well. 2.2 seconds behind Jaja. Jaja now being held up slightly by Combi. And Combi, the German, against the Dane of Jaja. Jaja, of course, hoping that he can make it 4 out of 4 tonight. It doesn't look likely at this stage, but you never know in Formula 1. Anything can happen. Sven is out on top, Kumbly in 2nd, Combi in 3rd, and I'm going to predict a move here. Jaja's going to get this move done around about now on Combi, and he's going to absolutely sail on by. You could see it from an absolute mile off, and he's going to get the move done, and he's turning into 3rd. More interestingly as well, Perpetuum right on the back of Carlsbury, running down the straight, and Jon Melmat right on the back of Dobby, just in behind Camera Shot as well. We'll come on board with them now, as Jon Melmat now runs on the back of Dobby, and Jon Melmat has got a pure straight line speed set up. My goodness me, he's absolutely sailed on by. He's used up a bit of ERS there. Dobby is into the pit lane. Wonder if he's got damage actually on the car. He speeds into the pit lane. Wonder if that's going to be another retirement out on track. This is disappointing, guys, if I've got to be honest. Sven is out on top, Kumbly in 2nd, Jajo in 3rd. Dobby, fourth retirement in about as many laps, to be honest, apart with everyone retiring. 16 laps in, we've already had 4 retirements. That's what, a retirement every 4 laps? Disappointing.
It's like those races on GTA Online where one of the cars gets blown up if you're last on a particular lap because they're just dropping like flies all of a sudden. Hey, 10 cars left in the race, 20 laps to go. How many are we going to end up finishing with at this rate? If Tim, even if he finishes way down in last place, he's getting himself 10 points at this moment in time. And if you're last, you can pit to do the fastest lap point as well. So you're probably going to get yourself at least 11 points in this race. Keep going because you never know what could happen. A safety car could really put Yul Melmat and Tim right back into this battle all of a sudden here. Perpetuum now works his way past Hyper. He made his way through that traffic. As I said a few laps ago, the train broke up and it's just worked out absolutely beautifully for him to do so. We'll see what he can do about Sorensen and and Combi up ahead.
Yeah, sails on by, he's up into 6th position, out on track, and it's going to be really intriguing to see what progress he can make. Sorensen, I was saying, he was making ground on Jaja. We've been overtaken by Combi, and Combi's in 4th. Sorensen now in 5th, but Perpetuum has got a lot of pace about him. He's past Carl's Green Hyper already, and he's now on the back of Sorensen, and not too far away will be a move for this position. Jaja right on the back of Kumbly as well, running down the straight. In the meantime, if you are very interested in the Champions League football match that some drivers are missing tonight's TTML Division race for, Man City's winning 1-0. There you go. I am a sports reporter as well as a commentator. Shred out on top, Kublai in 2nd, Jajao in 3rd, Combi 4th, Sorensen in 5th, Perpetuum in 6th. But look at this, Perpetuum actually looked into the inside line. Sorensen just comes across on him on the outside line. Jaja's going to get the move done on Kumbly. I'm not sure where really to turn with this action, as now Perpetuum's right on the back of Sorensen, running down the straight as well. Jaja through on Kumbly, and Combi is going to be absolutely sailed on by Sorensen. Down the inside goes the Dane. Does he get the car stopped? He does. Hyper picks up a 3-second penalty, but Sorensen really late on the brakes. He gets the move done, and now Combi with no DRS is going to be mullered by Perpetuum, and he's going to lose 2 positions in about as many corners. Perpetuum through, he's into 5th. Hyper's right on the back as well. He's going to lose 3 positions here. Combi's tyres are absolutely shot.
Yeah, they're going pretty long on these set of medium tyres, Cohen and Combi. Whether they're going to try and use the hard tyres or maybe just go long enough to stretch a set of softs, you can do it. It's not that it's the tyre management is that bad. It's as we saw from the first pit stops. The pit lane is just so short around this circuit. I mean, Kumbly and Combi at the moment, Combi's only about 6-7 seconds ahead of Yul Melmat. And you know Yul Melmat's on much faster tyres at the moment and will probably be on faster tyres at the end of the race. It's probably not worked out for them if they are going for this one-stop strategy at this moment in time. While all that's been going on though, Sven, he's just been steadily increasing the gap to Jiao Jiao. He's now got it up to 6 seconds. When you take the penalties account, it is 4 seconds, and he is into the pits. This is going to be mediums until the end of the race for Sven.
Yeah, it's going to be long-lasting, I think, on that sort of medium compounded size. On will go that set of medium, and he's got that 5-second stop go as well. Remember, so he's now serving that up. He's got 3 seconds in terms of a pit stop, so about an 8-second pit stop there for Sven, and he is going to be out behind Yul Melmat. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where he's going to come out. This now race brings into Perpetuum and Sorensen and the likes, and Kumbly might be even with a chance of actually winning this. Jajo's out on top. Kumbly is only 1.8 seconds off the back of Jajo and gaining as well. It's now just gone out to 2.1 seconds, seeing that's that typical look. Sorensen now on the inside line and runs to the inside line and gets through done on Kumbly. So Kumbly now dropping his way down the field. Literally, as I said, within 30 seconds he is making his way onto the back of Jiao Jiao. What does the head commentator know here in TTML? Perpetuum on the back of Kumbly, not going to go for the move, but I think it is hunting hour at the zoo. Kumbly really now under pressure from both Perpetuum and Hyper. He's got an all-German train coming at him.
Yeah, Perpetuum's going to sail on by, I think. This might be the lap where Kumbly decides to think about coming into the pits. Sorensen, he's got a chance of winning this race all of a sudden here. As does the Red Bull go into the pits? No, he stays out, so that's going to frustrate Hyper a bit longer. But Cohen's just got absolutely no grip on those medium tyres, and it is a very straightforward pass for Vapor Hyper down the inside into turn 1. He takes 4th position. Now, can Perpetuum on those 4-lap fresher tyres deal with Sorensen and try to make his way further up the order? Sven, again, coming out in a bit of free air using those medium tyres, but we're seeing already from some of these others, once these mediums get to about 16, 17 laps, you really start struggling. Has Sven just gone in a bit too early?
I think he has. I think Jiao Jiao's gone a bit too early as well on his tyres. Kuhnblei's on 64%, Combi on 67% in terms of their tyres. Sven is obviously on 4%. He's just came out the pit lane. He's 3.9 seconds behind Yul Melmat. But let's have a look at the leader timing. 13.5 seconds is the gap between Zhao Zhao and Sven at this point in time. Sorensen, by my calculations, if he has got the pace to try and get onto the back of Zhao Zhao, it is really going to be quite interesting to see as we flick on board with the intervals once again. Perpetuum now right down the inside line. He goes, and I think Sorensen actually, I think he might come into the pit lane in this lap. Zhao Zhao's in, he's got to follow him in, and he has done. So Zhao Zhao and Sorensen had to respond there to keep any sort of chance of winning the race here tonight. Sven is going to be well ahead, but Sven is going to be, I think, personally, about 7 seconds ahead of the back of Zhao Zhao and of the back of Sorensen. There is Zhao Zhao, there is Sven. Sven's already passed the start-finish line, sets a new fastest lap of the race. Zhao Zhao is coming out the pit lane, and do you know what? I think I'm not going to be too far off, actually, the 7 seconds. It's going to be about 4-5 seconds in between that. 4 seconds dead on between Sven and Zhao Zhao. And Zhao Zhao actually, because of Sven, Zhao Zhao's actually overcut Sven by about 2 seconds.
Yeah, he has there. Of course, let's not forget Sven had the 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
But I suppose if you had Zhao Zhao's penalty on, he's 7 seconds behind Sven at the moment, so you were spot on. Sorensen's 3 seconds behind Zhao Zhao with 3 seconds less penalty, so that could be a decent time trial battle to watch in this race. But it's now Perpetuum in the lead. Does he react on this lap, throw on a set of the medium tyres, or does he go longer, know that he'll lose out that time, or go for the set of the soft tyres? If he stays out this lap, I think we'll be seeing him stay out for a good few more laps, and he does decide to carry on. Yul Melmat now gets ahead of Combi. You know, the fact that Kuhn and Combi haven't come into the pit, so we've seen drivers do 2 pit stops, as there we go, they are both finally starting to come in. Carsby gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That will get added onto his time at the end of this race. I think the battle for the win, I think it's Sven versus Perpetuum.
But this is interesting. Kuhnblei's on a set of softs, Combi on a set of softs as well. 13 laps on a set of softs. They're going to be towards puncture territory, I think, by the end of this race. I don't think they're going to last at all. Kuhnblei's going to be out in 8th. Carsby's out in 9th. Carsby, I think, has been the wisest, and that is an illegal pit lane exit. So that's going to be going to the stewards, I think, for Carsby. Had 2 wheels over the front, the white line, coming out the pit lane on the right-hand side, and Carsby now right on the back of Kuhnblei. So Carsby might just get investigated by that pit exit, I think.
Yeah, you've got to obviously keep 2 white lines, 2 wheels, sorry, well, all 4 wheels on the right side. I'm so used to drivers cutting pit lanes in different leagues. I do it myself half the time, I just hope no one notices. You've always got to keep all 4 wheels on the right side of the white line. He was probably, in fact, I don't know why he was even close to that, because it's not like he was going to attack Kuhn and Combi. They'd both come out of the pit same time around. They're going to be so fast around here, but we've seen drivers early on only set the softs about 40, the mediums even 14 laps. They want to take the softs 13 or 14 laps, and I'm not sure that is something they're going to want to be doing. Sven, he's flying around, he's setting the fastest lap of the race. He's about 9 seconds behind Perpetuum. When Perpetuum pits, that's about a 7-second lead, and Perpetuum has got that 3-second time penalty. 10 laps on the soft, he might make up 10 seconds. It's all going to depend on how much traffic is between Sven and Perpetuum. Maybe not wipe out, let's not rule out Yul Melmat for a good result as well, because he'll be coming in for the softs in the next 2 or 3 laps.
I think Perpetuum's going to be out around Sorensen area, personally. If he is to come into the pit lane soon enough, I think he's going to go on at least another 3 or 4 laps, possibly. And then he goes for a set of softs towards the end of the race. I think 10 laps on a set of softs is definitely more plausible than going 14 laps on a set of softs, because they're going to be fresher towards the end, despite the tyre wear, of course, being heavier towards the end of the race. Perpetuum knows out on top, Hyper in second, Yul Melmat in third. Really hope you are enjoying our coverage, of course, of TTML Division 1. Tom, of course, in the background doing all of his magic with the graphics. The IGK task system, of course, taking us through all of the action with live data, providing you guys with the hot seat out on track. And Perpetuum currently leading the way, Hyper in second, Yul Melmat in third. Sven is gaining on Yul Melmat, but Zhao Zhao is not really gaining on the back of Sven. He's lost 0.3 of a second. In fact, it was 4.7 at the beginning of the lap, and it's now 4.4. So I wonder actually if Sven has made a slight mistake, or if Zhao Zhao's tyres are now beginning to really come into play, and he's beginning to like it a hell of a lot more, like he did, obviously, in his first pit stop.
Yeah, there's about 7% tyre difference at the moment, so that makes sense for the 2 laps. Neither of them are going to be in any tyre trouble at the end of this race. I don't think anyone will be in dire trouble at the end of this race. But yes, Sven, he's got to hope that Yul Melmat comes in shortly, and it will be in the next couple of laps. And he's not got a lot of ERS, has Sven. So if Yul Melmat, with that tiny bit more, chooses to defend this position, he might just have enough ERS to help him do that all of a sudden. Perpetuum, will he come into the pits at the end of this lap? No, one more, and I think next lap round will be the one. 15-10. So it's a great Hyper coming into the pits as well. Yul Melmat is in, so that frees up time for Sven. He's just going to push now, and he's looking very good. Make sure that you don't pick up a penalty. He has only got one warning, so as long as he's careful, he's looking pretty good to take a victory.
I think Yul Melmat's done a really good strategy here, by the way. 9 lap on that set of mediums. He's now going 10 laps on that set of softs. He's undercutting the likes of Combi as well. Yul Melmat could be one to watch later on in this race. Jaja and Thompson are pretty much to the end. Sven is pretty much to the end out on track. And Yul Melmat, again, who like Carlsbury, cuts across that pit lane exit. Perpetuum on top, Sven in second, Jaja in third. But Yul Melmat, he's going to be extraordinarily quick. On these set of softs, they're going to be fresher than Combi. He's got traffic ahead. Carlsbury's in that with a set of mediums as well. Yul Melmat, I think, might be the guy to watch in this race. He could be on... I'm going to really be a wild prediction here. I think he could be on for top 5.
He could be as well. He might get top 5 out on track. Penalties, we're going to have to wait and see how things pop out. But he's definitely done what I'd do on outside for top 10 around this circuit. Go for a longer run on a set of mediums and then just try and push it a bit harder on the softs later on. And Perpetuum then, here we go. He's only going to have to do 10 laps on this soft tyre. Sven's already ahead of him. Zhao Sorensen will be following through as well. He's going to come out with all this battle as Hyper has just sailed past Tim. Just so much more extra grip. Is Tim going to try and hang out on this track? Or will he pit and go for a set of softs at the end?
Perpetuum's going to be ahead of Hyper. Perpetuum ahead of Hyper. I said he would be out of around Sorensen area, and he is indeed. And he keeps all 4 lines within the white line there, coming out the pit lane. Kuhnblau and Carlsbury was looking quite interesting as well. And then look at Yul Melmat. He's through on Combi as well, so he's up into 9th position. And Yul Melmat has got the fresher tyres out of everyone in this train, and Tim is the only one really that can try and lay something down on the back of Kuhnblau, I should say, on the back of Tim. He could lay it down, but now we're about to see possibly things kick off big time. Out on track with 10 laps to go, 9.5 if you're being picky. Sven out on top, Jaja second, Sorensen in third, Perpetuum in fourth, Hyper in fifth, Tim, Kuhnblau, Carlsbury, Yul Melmat and Combi, your top 10. Combi now looks to move on Yul Melmat. Yul Melmat moves across, and it's all sorts of carnage in the foreground as well. Kuhnblau in the said round. Yul Melmat is round, Combi is round, both coming into contact, and a safety car for that? Really? But a safety car nonetheless, and it's going to bring a very exciting finish to the end of this race.
Yeah, the 2 leaders had gone past for chicane. Zhao had literally just taken the final chicane when that safety car came out. Sorensen, he's got everyone from Sorensen down pretty much, could end up diving into the pits here. Perpetuum's going to be in 3rd place. Sven, Zhao and Perpetuum have pitted. Sorensen's in 4th place on a fresh set of softs all of a sudden. Sven's race victory looks very, very doubtful.
Well, I've got to be honest, these guys, of course, have got to stick to that delta time. Out on track, Sorensen's 28.8 seconds ahead. I think that gap is going to be around the same. Sven, I think, and Zhao have got this one off quite lightly. Perpetuum is the one that's going to win this.
They've caught the safety car. There won't be a delta, I don't think.
Wow. Well, there might be for Sorensen. Oh no, because they have caught the safety car, haven't they? Yeah. So Sven and Jaja and Perpetuum have caught the safety car, and Sorensen in 4th. Looks like he is sticking to a delta though. He's not really gaining on the back of Perpetuum, but now he is obviously going through the corners. Pretty strange, and Sorensen is actually going to be the one. Sven and Jaja, if you were in this situation, Luke, Sven and Jaja, do they stay out and try and win this race? They've got to, I think.
I think they've got to. They've got to. If they come into the pits now, they're still going to come out, I'd reckon, ahead of Yul Melmat and maybe ahead of Carlsbury as well, but Sven hasn't got any penalties. I don't see him coming into the pits. Zhao, in fact, as well. In fact, they are both coming into the pits, so Perpetuum takes the lead of this race. Sorensen in second. It's going to have to be some lightning work, but I think they've all taken it fairly steady. If I was seeing those guys coming to the pits now, I'd be pushing like crazy on the straight. Take it a bit more careful through the corners to save your tyres. But where are Sven and Zhao going to come out? They're going to be behind Hyper here. All of a sudden, they're going to be, I think they're just going to come out ahead of Carlsbury.
No, they're behind Cosbury. Cosbury's through turn 2. And there is Sven. He got his motor on going down in towards the final, in towards turn 2 there. But Sven is behind Cosbury. And that is an absolute disaster for both of them out on track. 7th and 8th from what possibly could have been 1st and 2nd. Race turned entirely on its head. And with what, 7 laps to go after this lap, anything, and I repeat, anything can happen here in TTML Division 1. And certainly anything can happen in the rest of this race.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, going for that incredibly long strategy on the mediums at the start of the race, Kumblage is in 4th on a fresh set of softs with no penalties.
Yep.
He's in a very good position. Carlsbury and Sven, the only other drivers without any penalties, so maybe all is not lost for Sven. It has been a fairly short safety car. It's a short circuit. Safety car is in this lap. I don't think we've seen the end of the carnage here. You've got 10 drivers on fresh soft tyres, probably with a bit of spare fuel now and loads of ERS, desperate to try and take a victory in this race. Can Perpetuum get his first of the season? Well, first of the season for anyone other than Zhao Zhao, and how far can our championship leader get up the field?
Yeah, Zhao Zhao in 8th position. It's going to be negated somewhat, of course, with the tyres around him. He's on the fresher compounded tyre compared to everyone out on track, but now Perpetuum keeping a consistent speed. He'll run on the exit of the final corner. He will go, and now Perpetuum says go and has already bolted 7/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second away from Sorensen. Hyper's got a good restart as well. He's right on the back of Kumblai. Here we go, 7 laps to go. Kumblai's in 4th. Hyper still in 5th, and the two sister cars, and actually Hyper tries to look to the inside line and try to get the switch back. Kumblai parks it perfectly on the apex, and Hyper stays in 4th, and the front 3 are already getting away. The front 3 are already getting away, and Kumblai is going to be the knock-on effect, I think, for the guys in behind, like the likes of Sven and Zhao Zhao out on track, and Kumblai is actually going to be the one that's going to possibly hold these guys up, because it doesn't look like he's got the pace to keep up with the top 3. Perpetuum has bolted out in from 1.1 seconds. He's using up his EOS to boot as well. He's got 2.3 laps of fuel on that car. He may as well use it up. 0.63 for Sorensen, 0.69, I should say, for Tim, and Kumblai obviously in 4th. Perpetuum is going to win this by an absolute streak, possibly.
He's in free air, so he'll cool the engine down, but if you run rich mode for the entire lap, you're going to overheat the engine, and then you can't use rich mode. He's also got more fuel in, so that's going to cause problems as well. Sven and Carlsbury are pretty close together.
Oh, have they made it through there without making contact? Nearly, literally said that. Sven, 6th position, Carlsbury in 7th. I knew what was coming there. Carlsbury trying to go all the way around the outside middle through turn 1, now through turn 2, down the inside line, bit of wheel banging, but Carlsbury's through, and he's into 6th position. Good stuff there from Carlsbury. He is through, and he's into 6th position. A bit of wheel banging nonetheless. What do you expect when the two of them are fighting side by side? Carlsbury's through, and he's into 6th, and he needed that.
He did indeed. I think in the end he was hanging on to that position from Sven, very close to beating some big contracts on the straight, and that would have, I don't think it would have led to another safety car, although you never know if that would have caused the VSC, but it definitely would have caused 2 retirements in this race. I think if that would have happened, both of them getting away without any damage, but Perpetuum, he's 1.5 seconds ahead now of Sorensen, so Sorensen will not have the DRS next time around. Tim, not in a bad place all of a sudden after that damage earlier on. Kumblai without a penalty in 4th position. If the race was finishing on this lap, he'd end up taking 2nd place ahead of Sorensen and Tim. It's going to be a fantastic ending as Sven and Carlsbury going for a 2nd round, and I think this time Sven's just got far enough ahead.
Yeah, it cuts right across on Carlsbury's line coming through the final corner. Allowed to do that, of course. Sven is in 6th position. DRS now re-enabled out on track after the safety car. And Perpetuum leads by 1.6 seconds. Sorensen in 2nd, Tim in 3rd. Kumblai getting back up to speed now in 4th without those penalties. But it could be quite likely that he is going to lose the race win out on track. The gap already 3.2 seconds, and that gap will probably gain towards the end. There are the penalties as well, by the way, out on track. 15 seconds for Hyper, 15 seconds for Yulmel Matt as well, 12 seconds for Combi. The rest either on 3 or 6, apart from Kumblai, who's got no penalties whatsoever, taking it very gingerly out on track. But gingerly might just be the best thing to do, especially around a track like Canada with 4.5 laps to go. It's Perpetuum who leads the way, Sorensen in 2nd, but I have a feeling that Perpetuum might have just gone a little bit too early. Sorensen's on 21%. He's got 5% less compared to Perpetuum, and it now looks to me as if he might be catching ever so slightly out on track. Jaja and Carlsbury are pretty much going to go side by side, running down and towards the chicane as well. Jaja now on the inside line, Carlsbury on the outside line. The Alfa Romeo against the McLaren. McLaren backs off, Jaja through, but is he? Look at Yul Melmat as well with a good run. Carlsbury's now on the outside line, trying to get the run down and towards Zone 1. Is he going to try and hang this all the way around the outside? Got caught on the grass there, and Jaja forced him onto the grass slightly. And I don't think there was really any move to try and get Carlsbury around the outside there. And Jaja stays 7th. A little bit of good defensive work there from him. There's now Sven and Hyper side by side coming through turn 5. Down the inside, Sven goes into turn 6. Job done. Job's a good one. Sven is through and he's into 5th.
Yeah, fantastic move. Fantastic move from Sven. I wonder if there was just a slight mistake there from Vapor Hyper that meant he lost that pace, obviously, because you wouldn't expect to see too many overtakes around the outside of turn 5 going into 6 and 7. Now Kumblaich is going to have to defend from Sven. Maybe not this time around, maybe next time around. We'll just have to wait and see. Perpetuum, he's losing a bit of time to Sorensen. That gap nearly back under a second, and Tim's not been able to do an attack as well. And looking through the field, pretty much everyone, apart from the 2 Alfa Romeos and Combi, are on really low ERS. All of a sudden, at this point in the race, Sven's already going for Kumblaich down the inside into the final chicane. He gets that position. Kuhn gets a penalty. He gets a wheel spin, and that's Hyper through as well. It's been a nightmare 5 seconds for the Red Bull.
Yeah, Kumblaich down into 6th position, and so unfortunate, and he was losing the pace, obviously on those tyres as well. And I literally said, I don't think he's got the pace to keep up with the top 3. Look what's happened. He's down now in 6th position, and he's got a penalty as well. So everyone out on track has got a penalty, negated somewhat with all the penalties, and Perpetuum leads the way. Sorensen looks like he's dragging Tim along into this, possibly. 1.3 seconds out on track. It's 2.5 laps to go. Perpetuum looks like he's got an element of control over this race. Sorensen in 2nd, Tim in 3rd. Sven is the one that's making up very late ground. He's got less than 3 seconds to catch on Tim. He is well within that range. He's got 1.2 second buffer, I think, at this stage, compared to Tim ahead. Jaja now looking for the move on Kumblaich. These two all Division 1 rivals from another league. Jaja and Kumblaich are about to go, I think, I was going to say side by side, but they're not. Perpetuum still hanging on to the lead of the race, and look at Jaja. Here he comes down the inside line. Is he going to go for the move? He is going to get half committed down in the inside line. Never going to work, and Jaja caused a massive Constantine effect behind. Front wings go flying. Yul Melmat, I think, has got damage. Carlsbury's got damage. Combi came out with that scot-free. Down the inside he goes. Carlsbury in 9th, Yul Melmat in 8th. Still side by side as now Combi looks in 10th position. And Combi gets let through by Carlsbury. And that really all spawned from Jaja trying to force a move down the inside and a bit of impatience kicking in.
Yeah, Carlsbury and Yul Melmat, innocent parties in that, both with quite substantial front wing damage. Similar to what we saw with Monmon Jr. earlier on the back of, I think it was on the back of Combi going into turn number 1. If on a corner like that, you've got to fully commit. You can't half commit. The door will get shot on you. Zhao sort of left his front wheel in there a bit lazily, got spun around, and he was lucky in the end that Yul Melmat and Carlsbury sort of bumped him back to straight, but it is disastrous news for them two. Further up the field though, getting towards the end of the race, Perpetuum, he's only just a second ahead of Sorensen all of a sudden. I think he's done enough to hang on to the lead of this race, and I think we're going to see some more moves further down the order. Combi and Yul Melmat here, all the way around the outside for the Alpha Tauri driver, can't get it done.
No.
Forced to cut the corner there, gets both getting 3 second time penalties, and they're back at it again.
They are back out of the game, running down in towards someone. Combi's now got the move done illegally, I think, to be honest. He overcut the chicane completely. He had no other choice, if I've got to be honest. Yul Melmat down in 9th, and now Combi is up into 8th. Final lap of the race, and Perpetuum leads by a second from Sorensen in 2nd. Tim in 3rd. Kumblaich and Hyper, I think, is going to be the move maybe on. Jaja right on the back of Kumblaich as well. His actions might be getting investigated later on. But Perpetuum leading the way, and he looks like he's going to get the top 3 out on track. I think in terms of a top 3 graphic, Perpetuum, Sorensen and Sven looks like your top 3 at this stage with the penalty, the extra penalty for Tim. Kumblaich now right on the back of Hyper, running in towards turn 10. I don't think he's going to send it. He's got very limited ERS as the yellow flag in sector 2 and 3, and it's Yul Melmat that's round. Yul Melmat now down in 10th. He may as well still finish the race, not retire out on track. Jaja right on the back of Kumblaich, running through the final couple of corners though. We'll run on board with Kumblaich in just a second, but Perpetuum now through the final corner is going to win. Out on track, Kumblaich line. Jaja, I think it's 3 wide, possibly. Hyper has been out third, but Petcham to the line has won. Sorensen in second, Tim in third. It's all sorts of carnage and kicking off as Hyper and Jaja come into contact, and now Combi has into the back. An absolute disastrous race. Combi is now in the wall. Carsbury in sixth. Hyper down in seventh. Jaja with nil from wing across the line eventually in seventh. Yul Melmat's going to come across the line in ninth. Patience is a virtue out on track, but if you drive like that, I'm sorry, that's what you get.
I mean, I think we can safely say there the safety car was the most unsafe decision the stewards have ever made, because it just caused all sorts of chaos at the end of the race. Perpetuum, though, in the end, making that strategy work, going for the victory, and not having to pit, obviously, because he'd already put a set of the soft tyres on, takes his first win of the season, a completely different podium to what we've had. It's the first podium for each of these drivers. Sorensen, well, actually, no, sorry, it's Sorensen's second podium, isn't it? After another second place at Britain, and Sven getting a third. And it's been a quiet week for the stewards in TTML Division 1 so far. If I was them, I think they're going to make up for all that this week.
They're really going to make up for that this week. Whoever's the Division 1 admin, you're going to be one very, very busy man out on track from the incident. I'm just having a look at the task system as well. 100% damage picked up for 3 out of the 4 drivers that got caught up in that carnage. Everyone should have just been a little bit more belligerent, trying to not go for the moves. It's as simple as that. Perpetuum, though, takes the fastest lap of the race and takes the win. Out on track, the German, by 0.6 of a second in the end. Sorensen was gaining in the end. A couple of more laps, Sorensen might have got him. Sven in third from pole, Tim in fourth, and it's very rare to see, actually, 4 out of our top 5 on the first 4 steps, really, of the grid order. Kuhnblau in 5th, Carsbury in 6th, Zhao Zhao in 7th, Hyper in 8th, Yul Melmat in 9th, Combi ending off in 10th position. Unfortunately, he didn't come across the line. I mean, it's his teammates' fault, really, for moving across on the line and basically Combi running into the back of him and him not, Dobby, Moneymon Jr., Amity and Bullbeak all DNFing out on track, with Perpetuum out on top, Sorensen second, Sven in third, and that is how it's finished.
That is how it's finished. Whether it stays like that, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think we're going to see any changes for higher positions. I don't think there was much a lot of drivers did wrong. And I think Sven especially, he's going to be thinking, he only got 1 penalty. That was, I think, as soon as the safety car came in, he managed to pick up a penalty. He's going to be absolutely gutted about that. But he drove a fantastic race today, as did all our top 3 drivers. Tim, things working out okay for him in the end. Obviously, he had that damage earlier on, and we were talking about everyone retiring in the pits. Tim didn't. He stayed out on track. He got rewarded with a 4th place. Maybe there's a lesson there.
Maybe there is a lesson there, and really good racing, I think, from him out on track. Maybe one to watch, of course, if he does get the chance and the opportunity to thrive next week. But even with 14 drivers out on track, we still had all of the action. I'm sure we're going to get the top 3 in just a second, and hopefully try and get them in and get an interview. Not sure if any of them would want an interview, obviously, after that race, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, we will be treated to anybody that comes in to the comments section as well. And have a look at the comment section as well, just to see your reaction to that ending. Luke Ix, James Jinx Jules. I'm not sure if there's a spelling error there. Luke Alonso said, called the win. As well, he did call the win. Perpetuum, Tim and Jaja was his top 3, and Perpetuum was the man who finished out on top.
Yeah, he was in the end. Did a good job, as we said, going for that soft tyre strategy. We wondered whether he'd catch up. In the end, he didn't need to, but that safety car coming at the right time for him. Just if the safety car had came in 5 seconds earlier, Zhao Zhao would have got the free pit stop. 10 seconds earlier, Sven and Zhao Zhao would have got the free pit stop. It came out late enough that they couldn't get past the pits, but early enough that the safety car could still get out on circuit ahead of them. So unlucky for those 2 drivers. Sven, of course, recovering to get a podium, and Zhao Zhao was right. This is not a track he enjoys.
Yeah, Jaja was indeed right. Even though he was well up there within the pace and had the pace, especially on that set of mediums, safety car really was his downfall, I think, out on track, and that was such a shame. And Sorensen making sure that he is making Sven known in the comment in Discord as well, saying, unlucky, your pace was insane towards Sven. And Sven, yeah, might be the one to watch, of course, going forward in towards the next couple of weeks here in TTML Division 1. We are waiting on the top 3 to come in. Hopefully they haven't been scared away by my introduction from earlier on. Next week, however, we do go to Hungary at Magno Nedadic. It's the worst pronunciation of a Hungarian track you'll ever hear, but that's how I pronounce it, and Hungary is the track, of course, next week, followed by Belgium the week after, and Hungary, pretty much like Canada, where you can pick up quite a lot of invalidation, especially up the hill and towards turn 4. You really need a good setup around there, though.
You do. Hungary, it's a track I enjoy, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's really, I think, a really good track in Formula 1. Very difficult to overtake, though, so qualifying is going to be so important around there.
Qualifying is going to be important around there, and definitely it is going to be one of those races that hopefully will go down with better driving standards. The driving standards towards the end of that race really lacking, and I'm sure drivers will take on board whatever has been said, of course, in the stream, and, of course, what is going to be said in the stewards. And I'm sure the stewards are going to make their feelings known towards the racing. And Sven saying it could have been his first league race win, let alone in TTML. It could have been his first league race win, but that safety car didn't help him, and in the end, it was the difference between winning and losing.
Oh, I've got to feel sorry for the man. I've got to feel sorry. First league race win, and that to happen to you is extremely cruel, but that's racing at times. Things happen completely outside your control. Such a shame for him. I think he'll be back. Hopefully he'll be back, because I think he is actually now a full-time driver in the Renault, so he should be back at some point, raring to go, I'm sure, raring to make up for what happened there. But today wasn't his day. Gets a podium in the end. Perpetuum getting the victory, of course. I'm just going to quickly check the championship standings, because there were quite a few drivers who had some bad races, but I think looking at things in the championship, Zhao Zhao still leads, obviously. He's now, what was he before this race? He was 46 points ahead going into this race. He's now 44 points, so he's not really lost out much.
He hasn't, and that's because Carlsbury finished ahead of him, essentially out on track. 6th position for Carlsbury. Zhao Zhao finished in 7th. 106 points it will be with Zhao Zhao out on top, of course, pending any stewards' investigations will make that crystal clear. Carlsbury only gained a point out on track, and he's on 60 points. Perpetuum is actually the man, I believe, that has taken 2nd in the championship, and he's on 62 points. So the gap between Zhao Zhao and Perpetuum now, 44 points, as Lucas mentioned, going into next week in Hungary. And Sven also, only 2 points for his name previously. Of course, that was for his pole position. 22 points now for his name as a result of that 3rd position. And Sorensen as well, 25 points. A 2nd position, of course, last time out in China. 2nd position as well in Canada. There we are. And I don't think we're going to get any interviews, which is an absolute shame.
No, I'm going to maybe just if I tag them all in the Discord, that might work. We'll see if we can try and get some interviews, just to see the different ways that race works. Perpetuum, he's a fairly quiet soul, so I don't expect us to get them in, but it would be interesting to see how the others felt, especially, as we've already talked about, Sven just being so unlucky and then getting that penalty as well late on. If he hadn't have got that penalty, he could have even won the race with the safety car, but there we go. He'll be ready to get back next time around, and I know you've already said which track it is. Yeah, Hungary. Probably one where the DRS training is going to be important, one where getting the strategy right and making sure that you don't get stuck behind a slower car is going to be very important.
Yeah, and of course, Hungary is only home, I think, to the 2 DRS zones as well around the track, and that is on the run towards the start-finish straight. That's on the run up towards turn 4 as well. And I've seen some great moves in my lifetime as a sim racing commentator, especially around the outside through turn 4. There is no better feeling than trying to go around the outside of somebody going through turn 4. I tried it once and it absolutely failed, and both of the drivers, including me, ended up out of the race. So if there's any lesson to be learned there, stick to commentary.
You said that, not me.
Definitely. Yeah. My sim racing career is long gone, honestly. It was long gone after I tried to go around the outside of the castle section on Tom. But the less we say about that, the better, I think. Can hear him laughing in the background as well. But Luke, of course, mentioned any interviews. Hopefully we'll try and get some interviews, maybe with either Perpetuum Sorensen or Sven, but I'm sure everyone will be just trying to watch the football now. I think they've completed the race. They may as well get rewarded with watching the second half.
I mean, depends how well the match is going. Just because it's two big teams playing doesn't mean it's going to be an interesting match.
Yeah, let's have a look at the scoreline. Actually, I think it's still 1-0 to Man City, 3-1 on aggregate is the current 55 minutes in. So there we are. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get anyone in, I'm afraid, Luke. So I think we're going to end it here.
I think we are. Like a very exciting race. I think they're all just in a bit of shock about what ended up happening towards the end. The safety car was very strange, I think it's fair to say. We weren't expecting a safety car for what wasn't an on-track retirement. Yes, there was damage between the two of them. We've seen VSCs for that. It's one of the few times I've actually seen a full safety car being caused by something that minor.
And the thing is, though, they were both on the grass off track. That's what they've got to factor in with that safety car. We could debate about it for hours on end, but we haven't got hours on end. We've only got minutes. And we'll end it off here, of course, hungry next week. You can tune into more action, of course, tomorrow night here on League Racing TV. It is the return of EML F2. In EML F2, it is going to be Pepsi Freak and Spag taking you through the action. I need to confirm with Pepsi Freak, making sure he is actually available. If not, then you'll probably see me in the commentary box. How about that? Thursday, of course, Division 2 and 3. It's myself and Michael Edwards, Division 2. Aidan Carter-Conti for Division 3. Myself, Paco Suarez for Division 4. And then Division 5, James Boyle and Pariah taking you through the action, of course. 8 PM. Do not miss it. Both on Thursday and on Friday for Division 2, 3, 4 and 5 of TTML in their respective divisions. But for the fourth time, and hopefully we'll get this right, I've been James Head.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Thank you so much for tuning in to TTML Division 1. Please stay safe in this crazy world we all live in, and we will see you next time.
Maybe my compass was wrong, and I'm still on my way closer to where I belong. I'm still rolling the dice, praying sometimes don't last it long. I'm losing my faith, I'm walking away from what you knew all along. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, 1,000,000 miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your star, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Start when you're out on your own, 1,000,000 miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon.
Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon, and I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Ain't got no place to call my own. Feels like sad inside and hopeless. These Hollywood hoes never notice. Can't get back up. Girl, I miss you. Can't get back up. Girl, I miss you. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. And I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you're Hollywood perfect.
Yeah, I'm on my way home. I'm no good for you, so I drive around Manhattan. They're all laughing, oh, I'm tragic. Yeah, I'm driving in my car and seeing open, but I can't go down that road again. I'll smoke a cigarette, but will that help me forget you? Will that help me forget you? I just need to forget you. Oh, you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you. I need to treat you better than that and make you feel like I did in the past. Oh, I will treat you better than that. I don't need to forget you.
There's something that won't let me forget the way that you move. You tattooed me with your lips. I wore you like perfume. We were like no other, two hearts on the edge. Skip to the